is Rita. Welcome to my channel. This video is packed with a bunch of great exercises that can help you to find a better hip motion through mobility. As a rower, you need to have both strong and mobile hips because your hips will help you to have a good posture, good balance, and a powerful leg drive. The hips can perform 7 different motions. I will show them briefly, and then we'll have exercises for all of them in this video. One of them is hip flexion, which you can do with bent knee or straight knee. This is bent knee flexion, and this is straight leg hip flexion. You have then hip extension. It's happening mostly when we walk or when we run. It's when the leg is going behind you. I'll show it from both sides. This is my hip extended here, and I can also do it with bent knee. And then you have hip abduction when the hip moves away from midline, and then you have hip adduction when the leg crosses in front of midline or behind. The other ones are also external and internal rotation. Again, you can do them bent leg or not. So I will show you, this is external rotation of my hip, and this is internal rotation of the hip. With straight leg, the foot turns out, and internal rotation, the foot turns in. And the last one that combines most of these motions is circumduction. It's making a hip circle in a not fancy word. So you bring the hip into flexion, external rotation, going back to extension, internal rotation, and then you're coming up into flexion. And you can do this again clockwise and counterclockwise. This is also a good balance exercise. So here we go. You might need a knee pad if your knee is sensitive, and 2 blocks, but not necessarily. And you can pick the exercises you feel like you need the most and work on your hip mobility. It's also a good idea before you start these drills to a little bit warm up your ankles and your wrists, just doing by a couple circles, because we will weight bear through the hands, and also ankle mobility impacts your hip mobility. The first one will be the external and internal rotation. As you lie down, make sure you align your skull, scapula, and your sacrum on the ground. And as you have one leg bent with the foot firmly on the ground, you straighten the other leg, but your knee is soft. And you start imagining that your leg is like the metal part of a screwdriver. And from the top of the thigh bone, you make a quarter turn in and out to practice pure hip internal and external rotation. Your pelvis is not moving, and you really focus on pulling on those tissues around the top of your thigh bone. I'm going to demo these exercises only on one side, but you are always welcome to do them on both, obviously. Second exercise is a calf stretch, because if your calves are tight, that will also affect your hip mobility. On the screen you don't see much, but in this exercise I have my leg straight up, and then I'm pushing through the heel all the way to the ceiling, and at the same time I spread my toes as wide as I can, as if I was balancing a block or a glass of water on the sole of my foot. And as I really push hard through the heel and keep my foot leveled compared to the ceiling, I can feel how my calf starts to work hard in this position. You can hold this for a minute or 2, and if there's any shaking occurring, welcome it. It's a very good sign. You want that let happen. Just keep pushing through the heel and breathing in a very relaxed and rhythmical way. And then you can shake it out. Now we'll come into all-fours position. All-fours position, it's important to make sure that you bring the knees more forward than you usually would do, so that your lower back can't collapse and you can engage your deep core muscles, and then having your shoulders and the wrists in a vertical alignment. You also want to find the same neutral position for your spine as you just had in the exercise before. This exercise will work both hip mobility and stability. It's called the modified side plank. You will open up your calf and then step the other leg behind as you bring the hand on the pelvis. And then you can lift that hand up, lift the leg up. And as you put the hand down, you make an internal rotation with your foot, with your hip, and then bring the other leg behind, and you lift the leg and the hand. And you keep rolling from side to side between these two positions. It works your hips really nicely. You might also feel some nice sensations in your SI joint. And you want to focus here on stabilizing the bottom hip with that glute, and also by engaging your armpit and pulling that shoulder blade down so that your shoulder head is not turning inside. And this is a very nice exercise to wake up and warm up your hips. And once you did a couple back and forth with this one, the next one will work on hip extension and external rotation at the same time, and hip abduction. So you bring your left forearm parallel to the short edge of the mat, and then your right leg will reach behind, and at the end of that extension you add the slight external rotation, so your foot will translate this by turning outside. And then as you bring the knee in, you come onto the left hand as well, and you will abduct your left hip by taking it out to the side. I'm not lifting it up high. I don't want my pelvis move. I focus on moving from my hips. So again, forearm down, opposite leg reaches behind. I'm not reaching high so that my pelvis can stay level. And then I add the external rotation. Bring the knee in, come on the hand, and abduct the left hip. Forearm down, reaching back, externally rotate, bring it back down, hand down, abduct. And then you do it on the other side as well. If you are not sure that you are able to keep your pelvis more or less leveled and stable in this exercise, you can have a block on your sacrum, and that will keep you honest in this position. Because if you move from the pelvis, it will make the block fall down. And another thing is that you don't want to drop your head, so you can have a block also to make sure you hold your head in a nice alignment towards your spine. Hip circumduction in a standing position. Because it's not a balance exercise, I invite you to stand against the wall and have your hand on the wall, and then find the neutral position for your spine. So head back and then tailbone down, pubic bone up. You can have a hand on your pelvis as you will bring your hip into flexion, then open it up as a gate, lower the gate as you reach back towards hip extension, again not tilting from the pelvis, and then as you finish the circle, the hip comes up again towards your chest. Open it up, slowly reach back, and then bring it towards the knee. And then you can keep doing this in a counterclockwise and then in a clockwise position. The slower you go, the more you can coax the tissues around your top of the femur, and that's where you really can enhance the suppleness of your tissues and gain actually mobility. Another way to do the circumduction of the hips is in down dog or in dolphin. If you choose dolphin, it's also a great opportunity for you to work on shoulder strength and endurance. So you will lower your forearms and clasp your hands. The same way you did your down dog, press into the toes, lift the knees, lift the hips, and your shoulders stay above your elbows, vertical position. I'm gonna lift my leg lower than hip height, bend it from the knee, keep my leg this position, and focus on the femur head to draw the circles. I relax my neck so that my upward trap and deltoids are not too much included in this exercise. They are working, but they are not compensating for my hip motion. And I'm also high on the standing leg toes. In downward facing dog, similar. Press into the toes, lift the knees, lift the pelvis. Don't push the body weight back, just stay evenly between the hands and feet weight distribution. Lift the leg, lower than hip height, bend from the knee. Focus here on the top of your thigh bone to draw your circles. And explore the range of motion, like take your time here. If this is the only time that you dedicate to work on hip mobility, and your body will reward you for that attention. Treat your other hip with this exercise as well. For the next exercise, you can or not use a block, and again, as I said, a knee pad. It's in a half kneeling position, which you want to be a compact position. You don't want it to be too wide, where your pelvis will almost necessarily be tilted. So you keep your knee directly under the bottom hip, and then you keep the ankle and the knee also in a straight angle position, or 90 degrees angle position, sorry. You can have, if your hips are really tight and it pulls you out of a vertical torso position, have the block, it will give you space. Good. Now once you're here, you can have your hands on your thighs, and then you step out with the front leg into an angle, and you will do some lunges. But again, I would like you to stay vertical so that you really work on your core engagement and stay with your neutral spine. And a couple of times after, you take another angle, and again you go for your lunges. This side glute is really engaged, and I'm lifting my energy from the ground all the way to the top of my head so that my posture stays nice and I'm not collapsing on my stabilizing hip. And then if your hips are open, you can also do with this last angle here, where your feet are perpendicular, and as you go out to the side and lunge, if you feel comfortable, obviously you can have your hands out to the side, you can have one hand on your head and the other side on your sacrum, you can have the hands in front of the chest, it's up to you. And again, make sure not to forget the other side. Your glute muscles are one of the main contributors of the hip mobility, and we will work on the gluteus medius, that is on the lateral side of your hip. So as you come into a side lying position, you'll have your left forearm on the ground, your elbow and shoulder are really on a vertical line, and you will not leave your knees behind, but you really snug them up, so behind your back, on your back, your spine is nicely aligned. Good. And you pay attention not to drop your head. We want to work the bottom glute in this exercise, so you push your lower leg down as you imagine that you are lifted by a string towards the ceiling as you push down. And this is where you can work on that bottom glute. You can also make it harder for yourself as you maybe push into that inner knee, or keep both knees together, or you can, if you are confident and it's easy for you, you can lift the legs apart and work that way. You can also add a kick into this exercise, and as you come up, you can kick forward or you can reach back. So one is working in hip flexion and this one is hip extension. And you can add the arms so that you can stay balanced in both ways. And again, don't forget to work the opposite side as well. Your hips also need lateral motion. So this exercise is here for working on hip abduction. You will stand on a block with one leg, and you'll pay attention not to push the hip out to the side as your working leg is moving. So your hands can be again on your pelvis. You really want to feel the tripod of the foot grounding. And then from this gluteus medius muscle, you will move your working leg away from midline. And it's not about hiking your hip up. You see how it took me out of balance. You want to control the motion, and you want to stay stable and keep lengthening up. This is an exercise you can also do by standing on a block and having another block against the wall at hip height. This is harder because you both have to push the block into the wall as you move the hip. Okay. From all fours position, you will come into a downward facing dog or dolphin. Two different possibilities here. As you press into the toes, lift the knees and lift your pelvis. And as you raise the leg lower than hip height, you don't push your body weight back. You stay in an even distribution between the feet, foot, and the hands. And you take this lifted leg out to the side, bring it back to center, and then cross behind the standing leg. Your toes are facing the ground so that there's no rotation happening in the hip, but you are working on abduction and adduction. Adduction is when your leg crosses midline, and abduction is when it moves away. Good. My hips definitely feel much freer and much more warmed up actually. I feel blood circulation and I feel some unstickiness, so it's really nice. You can pick any of these drills, up to you, and I hope you will enjoy them. Let me know and see you next time.